I'm Nick Seco from HomeRight Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Welcome to Let's Talk TriState, all powered by HomeRight Windows and Doors in Waynesboro, the right choice online, homerightwaynesboro.com. Joining us, one of our dear friends from Middletown Valley Bank. We have Dawn, is it Lowe or Lowe?
Lowe.
Okay, Dawn Lowe. She is the Chief Talent and Culture Officer at Middletown Valley Bank. Dawn, so good to have you today.
Thanks, happy to be here.
Well, we have Middletown Valley Bank here many times, and typically when we have Middletown Valley Bank, they're so gracious with their time allotment here on Let's Talk TriState. It has been, usually we've had charities or what you would call the community arm of Middletown Valley Bank. But I do want to focus on Middletown Valley Bank today. So what sets Middletown Valley Bank apart from the larger national banks?
You know what, that's a great question. In general, banks all do the same thing, right?
Sure.
We're a secure place to put your funds. We facilitate the transfer of money and transactions. But at Middletown Valley Bank, it's not the what we do that differentiates us, it's the how we do it.
Right.
Community banks have a unique opportunity to really build a relationship-based business, and we emphasize personalized service that meets the needs of the folks in the community.
Okay.
We work here, we also live here, so we understand what the needs of the community are, and we're in it to build long-term relationships for success because the money that comes to us stays here and is reinvested in the community. We have a really strong sense of mission, and that is to continue to grow the community, because when the community grows and thrives, so do we, right?
Sure.
It just makes sense, individuals, community, businesses.
The high tide rises all boats.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the way we look at things. And our mission at the bank is advancing financial journeys, one conversation, one connection, and one community at a time. And community is one of our core values, and the way that we do that is through stewardship, integrating ourselves into all of the things that are going on. And that's why you were able to have so many conversations with us about what are you doing in the community, because that's really what we value.
It is. And I think, too, is we should say this, and I've said this before with Middletown Valley Bank when they're here on and off air, is when you deal with finances, it can already be a stressful situation for the customer, for the client, as it were. And to know that there's someone on the other side of the counter, on the other side of the phone, that is not 1,000 miles away, not in California, that's right here in our tri-state area. I don't care what anyone says, that makes a big difference. And the comfort that you can have and the comfort that you can take in knowing that's the case at Middletown Valley Bank makes it just a premier financial institution in our area. So how does that personalized service, that one-on-one, I know we could look at this question, and it's my job to ask the obvious questions.
Yes.
We could say, well, Tiny, that's an obvious answer, but what is it that really makes that valuable to the customer?
Yeah, there are actually a couple of things. First and foremost, as we get to know you, it helps us to help you better by identifying what the needs might be that we can offer that you might not even be aware of, right? We also have the opportunity to build relationships throughout the community that gives us insight and context that you as a consumer or a business may not have, that we can share as part of that trusted relationship we build with you. And most importantly, the connections we can make with you to a broader network of folks locally that really contribute to you as an individual and that help the community to thrive.
I remember a while back, it was probably a year after the branch in Waynesboro opened.
Yeah.
And I was asked, would you want to come take a tour of the new facility? You know, because I'm from Waynesboro, so naturally, of course, I'm glad to. So I walk in, and obviously the staff member who was giving me a tour knew who I was, but those staff members had not, and I specifically asked this, they hadn't been read into who's this person. As far as they would know, I was just someone there perhaps seeking a loan or other financial business. And I'll never forget, this gentleman walks in, and the teller behind the counter says, knew him by name, Mr. whatever, and then I don't remember the name, but I distinctly remember what she said or what she asked. She goes, "How's the new truck running?" And just that simple thing, he obviously had his auto loan through Middletown Valley Bank. She knew it was a truck, and she asked, and I thought to myself, that's something that you see on Andy Griffith. That is not something that you expect to see in today's world, where everything is so modernized. We're so detached from personal interaction, from remembering any detail. We see someone, we meet someone, we get their name. 2 minutes after they're out of our presence, that is completely gone, and we couldn't remember it if you lined them up in front of us. I get that the world's busy, but that's just another example of what you can get at Middletown Valley Bank.
Yeah, well, let's be honest, right? People don't need to come to banks anymore.
Right.
They can process any financial transaction they want virtually.
Yeah.
And so really the differentiator is, how do we get to know you personally and really meet those personal needs? How can we customize products perhaps that would help meet a need that you have? And that really is the differentiator.
It absolutely is. Now, one of the big advantages of community banking is local decision making. So it does not have to be sent off to New York or down to Florida, out to California. And how does that help to meet and shape the banking needs of individuals and families, businesses in our area?
Yeah, really great question, because people often don't realize that at the larger national banks and even some of the regional banks, decision making is not retained within the bank itself. It's sent to home office somewhere to make a decision. It's done by computers and analytics and things. Local decision making for us means that we understand what's going on in the community, and we can use the quantitative data that says, you know, credit and income and all of the things. But also the qualitative data that says, what is your circumstance and what's going on in the community, and how would this decision be profitable for you and beneficial for the bank? And we have all of our executives are local residents and have the context and the knowledge here, so decisions can be made here. Our board of directors are all local residents, so it streamlines the ability to get decisions made more quickly and make the decision that's in the best interest of everyone.
It seems like I always have an example for everything, but I guess when you've been around in the area as long as I have and grew up here, you have these examples. My mother was having an issue with her bank, and this was, my goodness, probably going on 30 years now. And the bank that she used at the time had recently been bought out and part of a larger corporation. And she went to the local branch in Waynesboro that she had gone to for years. She walks in, there was an issue, and she said, "Could I speak to whatever the gentleman's name was?" He was still there, thankfully. And he came out and he said, you know, they got in the conversation. He said, "Regina, I'm sorry." He said, I don't have that. My hands are tied now. I can't make the decisions like I used to here. I have to send this up the corporate ladder," paraphrasing. But that's what he had to do.
Yeah.
And she walked out of there, and for the first time, she was dejected and considering, well, I need to go somewhere where I can get local decisions made, and again, paraphrasing, but you know, where they're made in the branch.
Yep.
And the president of the bank is right there.
Right.
And that's what you have at Middletown Valley Bank. And I don't think until you face that, you don't realize how important that can be, as you just laid out.
It's funny because, excuse me, I spent most of my career at the large banks, right? I spent over 25 years with Citibank, an international bank, and then another larger national bank. And when I came to Middletown Valley Bank and saw the impact in the community and the way people interacted differently, one of the things that struck me most is BJ Getz, who's our CEO and president.
Yep.
He gives customers his personal cell phone number.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If somebody has a need and somebody wants to be able to talk with him, he says, "Call me.
Yeah.
I'll meet you. I'll talk to you."
BJ is one of the kindest individuals that I've ever met in my life. and we just love him here. Katie, one of our other hosts here on Let's Talk Tri-State, when he shows up, she makes it a point to give him the biggest hug you'd ever want to see, and he is so receptive to it. So it does. So I say, oh wow, when you gave me that example, it doesn't surprise me a bit.
Yep.
It really does not surprise me. But it is, to those listening and viewing, you don't hear about that. Yeah. The president of a bank, I don't care how big, small, regional, national, that's just not going to happen. You know? But BJ is certainly one of a kind, and that leadership that you see in him, it trickles down. And it permeates every part of Middletown Valley Bank. So let's talk about community development. Middletown Valley Bank, we've talked about, very involved in that. Can you share some ways that Middletown Valley Bank is benefiting the community?
Absolutely. First and most importantly, we employ over 180 people. So that supports the growth of professional skills and economics in the community.
Sure.
But aside from that, we make services available to help support other small businesses as they grow, individuals as they grow. Again, if you go back to advancing financial journeys, it's figuring out where folks are and helping them how to get to where they want to be, right? What is it that will help you move that way? We also provide financial services in such a way that the growth of the individual, again, rising tide and all of that we talked about, supports everyone else. And it's really critical because the larger national banks, we've seen them doing things like exiting banking relationships that aren't profitable for them. So smaller loans and smaller deals and things like that. So the value to the community and the ways that we're really building the economy here is by saying, those people matter and those deals matter, and we're going to support that so that as you grow, we grow, and we all succeed together.
And when you're a big bank and you remove those services that you, as you said, they just don't deem profitable enough, not worth the time and effort that they will put into it. And I get that every bank has to do what they feel is best for them, but as a customer, this is the only place you've ever gone, and now they no longer can do what you've known them to do.
Exactly.
It can be so overwhelming because we think in our minds now, after so many years of banks being bought up and scooped up and merging and all that, we'd think, well, now there's going to be nowhere for me to go.
That's right.
Quite the opposite. You have Middletown Valley Bank, who is here and helping to grow the community. Now, your role is Chief Talent and Culture Officer.
It is.
Okay. That's the first time that I have seen that type of role. It doesn't surprise me that Middletown Valley Bank has that particular role in their company. So how are you developing local talent with Middletown Valley Bank to better serve your customers?
So I will tell you, hands down, it's one of my favorite parts of my job because we recognize that at a small community bank, we have the opportunity to help bring folks in and help them grow a career with us. But we also recognize that we might not be the final stop for folks, right?
Okay.
They might come and gain some experience with us and move on and do other things. It doesn't matter to us. What we want is we want people to come in and become bankers. We want people to come in and learn about financial services and the economy and how it works and be able to provide to meet the needs of the communities we serve and the customers we have. So we do training for everyone who comes in. They start with new hire training. We have job shadowing and development programs internally. We have tuition reimbursement for our employees to be able to continue education outside of the bank. We have Maryland Bankers Association specific training for banking and certificates and all kinds of things. We also offer internships, so very specific for folks who want to grow in the finance industry. We provide summer job opportunities for students in college.
Wow.
We have many different ways we do it. We also regularly provide financial literacy training to schools and organizations in the community. So,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, development is key to what we do. 2 years ago, not even quite 2 years ago, we actually changed the whole structure of staffing in our branches to take them from customer service associates to branch bankers, because we want anyone who works with us to realize banking is a profession, and it's a way that we can service people by being the experts and the trusted advisors they need. So development is key to everything that we're doing.
So it sounds like there's no hindrance whatsoever with Middletown Valley Bank. If you are your own gatekeeper, so to speak. If you want to stay in this position and you're happy there, great. We'll make sure you have everything you need to succeed there. But if your goal is you want to move up and you want, opportunity for advancement, it sounds like you have that as well. I'm sure there's positions with IT. Yep. There's all it's not just handling money, when people come in. I think we often overlook that. There are other things that, I was talking to BJ, as a matter of fact, a while back, and he said, Tiny, you wouldn't believe the number of positions that we have that don't involve what people typically consider banking.
Yep.
And I said, that's really good to know, and I think that we need to let more people know that this is a great place to work, great company, and a great organization, great culture, as you would know. And they don't just need people to handle the transactions at the counter. There's all different kinds of positions under the umbrella of Middletown Valley Bank. So for someone who may be looking for that personal banking experience, as we're wrapping up our interview today, this is probably the key, most obvious points. Where do they go? How do they get in touch with Middletown Valley Bank? What's the process?
Okay, so first and most importantly, for folks who are thinking about maybe becoming customers, come into any one of the 8 branches we have in Washington County, Frederick County, Franklin County. We want to talk with you and meet you. You can also find us on www.mvbbank.com or any of the socials.
Sure.
Reach out to us. Look, we provide all of the same services as the larger banks do, but in a much more personal way. If you're looking for employment with us, reach out to any one of us. We post jobs typically on Indeed. We post them on our website.
Okay.
But my information is out on our public website. Reach out to me directly, because oftentimes if there's not a job available today, there may be in the future.
Sure.
And we believe in building relationships ahead of time. Let us get to know you. If you're thinking about coming to work in the financial industry, talk to us, share your experiences, and let's see where there might be opportunities.
Yep, I love that. Dawn Lowe, she's the Chief Talent and Culture Officer at Middletown Valley Bank. I can't emphasize enough that if you are first looking for a place to leave your money in good hands, Middletown Valley Bank is where you need to do that. And as well as if you are looking for a place to work, you're interested in the financial sector, at least have the conversation. Maybe you've thought about it. Yeah, like Dawn said, call Dawn. Don't call me. Call Dawn. She can take care of you. She's been a wonderful guest today. Dawn, thank you so much for joining us on Let's Talk TriState today. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Tiny.
And as always, we thank you for joining us on Let's Talk TriState.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk TriState, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.